No rest for town officials as construction ramps up again and seasonal jobs get cut. Phil Lindemann, Krystal, 93 News. First, town of Breckenridge is saving millions by postponing low-priority summer projects and cutting seasonal jobs. Town manager Rick Holman.
Somewhere in that 50 to 60 range, maybe, of winter seasonal positions, and some of those are in our kind of streets and parks department.
Other cuts came at Gold Run Nordic Center, and the town has put a freeze on hiring for most positions. Holman estimates town revenues could take a hit of $15 to $20 million through end of the year. County building permits and inspections are slowly returning. Holman.
As long as they are following the rules and creating a safe environment, we'll have our inspectors go out there with no contact and try to complete the inspections that are needed so they can continue with their work.
Silverthorne Town Manager Ryan Highland says pre-budgeted work on 4th Street Crossing begins again soon. And everything else?
And anything that's not, really an essential public safety or transportation type of project, we put everything on hold.
Meanwhile, in Dillon, work continues on the new Vale Health Medical Complex at US 6 and Dam Road. In-town construction, like the Uptown 240 project, depends on inspections. Newly elected Frisco Mayor Hunter Mortensen is committed to protecting the town budget with 7 months of reserve funding to keep taps running and streets patrolled.
Part of the reason we had such a robust reserve is to be able to be nimble and dynamic when things changed.
He is inspired by local business owners, now staying engaged through the town's Business Advisory Committee, which went from a half dozen attendees before COVID-19 to upwards of 80 now.
We're not just a council doing this alone. It's the entire town getting together really regularly to have discussions, check in with each other, look after each other, and make a plan.
Frisco and other new councils are sworn in later this month. Aaron Hoban of Eagle knows things were odd when Phantom Ranch, the halfway point for Grand Canyon boaters, was a ghost town.
We were all planning to go make a phone call, buy some ice cream, and send postcards, which is what rafters do at Phantom Ranch. Phantom Ranch is generally pretty busy. Nothing was open.
Hoban left Eagle for the Grand on March 14th when virus precautions were still fresh.
That morning I went to the gym. They were asking for some social distancing at the gym, but we still didn't know what social distancing was. That didn't really mean much.
Her group of 16 had no cell service and little contact with the outside world for 3 weeks on the river.
The best way to describe it is an adrenaline rush every day for 20 days that you can't get anywhere else in life.
Reality hit hard the minute her group took out on April 4th, suddenly amid a national shutdown.
Once we got into cell phone service and phones started blowing up, it became more and more apparent that it was going to be very strange getting home.
Hoban operates a tree service in Edwards, and the strangeness continues.
No one's allowed to touch each other. The communication level has changed tremendously, and how we approach our staff and our clients is never going to be the same, I don't believe, ever in our lifetime again.
All boating permits were suspended March 24th, and Grand Canyon National Park closed to the public indefinitely April 1st. Yesterday morning, Frisco resident Deepan Dutta was about to give up hope he would ever find his lost dog.
That night, she went out and she did not come back.
His dog, an 11-year-old Shiba Inu named Bubbles, went missing March 28th, somewhere along 10 Mile Creek near his house by the Frisco post office. Dozens of friends and even strangers went looking, and theories were grim.
She might have gotten attacked and taken away by an animal, or she might have drowned in the creek, or she was stolen by somebody.
Then, around 3 p.m. yesterday, a call came from a group of 3 backcountry skiers from Denver saying they had found Bubbles about 6 miles up the Frisco Copper Wreck Path, weighing 10 pounds less, with an injured rear leg.
I don't know how she did it. I really don't know. And if she could talk, I'd love to hear what she was doing for all that time.
Yes, he knows the skiers were not supposed to be in Summit County, but he is glad they were. Bubbles is recovering today, and Dutta still cannot believe it.
I never thought my dog, this little tiny, kind of dainty-looking fox-like dog, would be able to survive 11 days out in the wilderness on her own.
Dutta thanks everyone who searched for Bubbles, and especially the skiers who wish to remain anonymous. Author Blake Crouch of Durango has penned several best-selling sci-fi novels, including Recursion and Dark Matter, and he knows what they say about hindsight.
I haven't written a pandemic book, but I've certainly written scenes and there's a scene in Dark Matter touches on a plague that swept through Chicago, and it's weird to live through it because I now have the the experience to have written those scenes better.
Crouch is not convinced there will be much of a market for pandemic books in coming years, so he's taking inspiration from another angle.
It was just these emotional swings that I found most interesting and upsetting. Like, you'd have moments where it felt like, this isn't a big deal. This is going to be over in a few months, and it's just going to be kind of a weird blip in all of our collective experiences. And then you had moments where it swung the other way, and there was a lot of fear and uncertainty because maybe this is going to be a sea change in, our civilization going forward.
Meanwhile, he's filling quarantine time, like a lot of folks, by reading voraciously.
And I would recommend start a book club. I'm doing quite a few of those remotely now. It feels like people are weirdly reading more now than ever.
Ebooks are great for isolation. Find more than 150 Colorado authors and thousands more through the Marmot Library Network at marmot.overdrive.com. In sports, the 146th running of the Kentucky Derby is rescheduled from May 2nd to September 5th, and the Derby's official online store is now selling newly out-of-date merchandise for a cause. 20% of all proceeds go to the state of Kentucky's COVID-19 Relief Fund. And in local sports, brought to you by Wilderness Sports in Dillon, wet, sloppy weather means unpredictable avalanche activity, like a natural slide in 10 Mile Canyon yesterday when snow above a rock band sloughed off. Cliffs, chutes, and rocky terrain are prime suspects this weekend. On Tuesday, a snowmobiler was caught, carried, and injured by an avalanche near Independence Pass. He was riding with another person when a slab broke free and carried him through trees. He was airlifted with unspecified injuries. Phil Lindemann, Krystal, 93 News.